The German shepherd's bark shattered the peaceful morning, frantic and insistent. Kyung-jae lowered his newspaper, irritation flickering across his sharp features. Rex never barked without reason. The dog stood at the floor-to-ceiling window, pawing at the glass, trembling with urgency. Kyung-jae approached the window overlooking the private garden 20 stories below, and his breath caught. A woman in a wheelchair sat motionless near the fountain, her head slumped forward, one arm dangling lifelessly. Even from this distance he could see the unnatural stillness. Rex's bark grew more desperate. Without thinking, Kyung-jae was moving toward the private elevator. The dog raced ahead. He didn't know her, had never seen her before. But something ancient and undeniable pulled him forward, toward a woman whose arrival would shatter every wall he'd spent 35 years building. Celeste Harper's hands trembled as she gripped the wheels of her chair, propelling herself down the tree-lined street of Manhattan's Upper East Side. The morning sun cast long shadows across the pristine sidewalk. She shouldn't be here. This neighborhood, with its doormen and luxury cars, belonged to a different world, one where people like her were invisible. But desperation pushed people into places they didn't belong. Her phone buzzed. Another text from her landlord. 3 months behind on rent. The eviction notice had been taped to her door yesterday, bright orange and impossible to ignore. 2 weeks to find $3,000, or she'd be on the street. 6 months ago, she'd been walking, running even. She'd had a job she loved as a graphic designer, a comfortable apartment, a life finally coming together. Then came the car accident, the drunk driver, the surgery that saved her life, but left her with nerve damage that made walking impossible. Her disability payments barely covered medical bills. Her job had let her go after 3 months, restructuring. Celeste blinked back tears. Her grandmother hadn't raised her to be a victim. "Baby girl," Nana used to say. The Harper women got steel in their spines. When life knocks you down, you get back up, whatever that looks like for you. Getting back up looked like this. Responding to a Craigslist ad for a freelance graphic design project. The client wanted to meet in person at this ridiculously upscale location. The pay was generous, enough to cover 2 months of rent. The address led to a private residence. The building was stunning, all glass and steel. The private garden wrapped around the side, accessible through an ornate iron gate standing slightly ajar. She hesitated. Something felt off, but the promise of that paycheck pushed her forward. The garden was breathtaking. Perfectly manicured hedges, a central fountain, stone benches under ancient oak trees. Celeste wheeled herself along the path, looking for the entrance. That's when the pain hit, sharp, sudden, radiating down her spine like lightning. Her vision blurred. Her hands slipped from the wheels. The medication. She'd skipped her morning dose to save money. Stupid. Celeste tried to call out, but her voice came as a whisper. The world tilted. She slumped forward, consciousness slipping away. Kyung-jae lived by 3 rules. Trust no one, show no weakness, maintain control. These principles had kept him alive in a world where mercy was a liability. At 35, he was the youngest boss in the history of the Baek-pa organization, the most powerful Korean crime syndicate on the East Coast. He'd earned his position through ruthless intelligence and an ability to outthink enemies. His reputation preceded him, the man with ice in his veins. Only Rex, his 3-year-old German shepherd, had ever seen him as anything other than cold and calculating. Kyung-jae stepped into the garden, Rex bounding ahead. His trained eyes swept the perimeter first, checking for threats, traps, signs of ambush. But there was only the woman in the wheelchair, utterly still. He approached cautiously. Up close, she took his breath away. She was beautiful, not in the manufactured way of women who frequented his clubs. This was something raw and real. Her skin was a rich, warm brown that glowed even in distress. Natural curls framed her face, high cheekbones, full lips, slightly parted. Even unconscious, there was strength to her features, a dignity that made her look like royalty despite modest clothing. Rex whined, nudging her dangling hand with his nose. Kyung-jae knelt, his fingers finding her pulse. Steady, but weak. Relief flooded through him, unfamiliar. She was a stranger. None of his concern. He should call an ambulance and walk away. But his hands were already lifting her, cradling her against his chest with surprising gentleness. She weighed almost nothing. Something protective and primal surged through him. "Stay," he commanded Rex, though the dog was already following. He laid her carefully on the leather sofa. Rex immediately jumped up beside her, resting his head on her lap. Kyung-jae called his personal physician, the one who understood discretion. While waiting, he studied her. A wallet had fallen from her bag. He picked it up. Celeste Harper. The driver's license showed her standing, smiling, less than a year old, so the wheelchair was recent. Medical bills spilled out, thousands of dollars, a business card for a freelance graphic designer, an eviction notice folded small. His chest tightened. This woman wasn't a threat. She was drowning. Rex whined, licking her hand. "I know," Kyung-jae murmured. "I feel it too." When Dr. Kim arrived, Kyung-jae found himself pacing, unusual for someone who never showed anxiety. "Severe muscle spasms combined with medication withdrawal," Dr. Kim announced. "She needs rest, proper pain management, and probably much more help than she's been getting." "Fix it," Kyung-jae said. "Mr. Oh, I'm not her doctor." "Fix it." His voice dropped to the tone that made grown men reconsider their lives. Dr. Kim nodded quickly. "I'll stabilize her, but she needs proper follow-up care. Bill me for everything. Arrange whatever she needs." An hour later, Celeste began to stir. Kyung-jae dismissed Dr. Kim. Her eyes opened slowly, warm brown eyes that caught and held light. Confusion crossed her face, then alarm. "Easy," Kyung-jae said softly. "You collapsed in the garden. My dog found you." She looked around the penthouse, taking in expensive furnishings, floor-to-ceiling windows with views of Central Park. Then her gaze landed on him, the tailored suit, expensive watch, unmistakable aura of power. "I'm sorry," she said immediately. "I didn't mean to trespass. I had an appointment, and then... God, I'm so embarrassed." "Don't be. You were in pain. I should go." But even as she said it, he could see she was still weak, still hurting. "Your chair is by the door, but I'd prefer you stay until you're stronger." She met his eyes, and something passed between them. Recognition without understanding. "Why are you helping me?" "My dog likes you. He's an excellent judge of character." A small smile tugged at her lips. "What's his name?" "Rex." She reached out, and Rex immediately nuzzled into her palm, tail wagging enthusiastically. Her smile widened, and Kyung-jae felt something shift in his chest. "I'm Celeste," she offered. "Kyung-jae." "Oh, Kyung-jae." Her eyes widened slightly. She'd heard the name. The Korean crime boss. But she didn't recoil. She simply processed the information, expression carefully neutral. "Should I be afraid?" she asked quietly. He considered lying, then decided she deserved honesty. "Of me? No. But I live in a world that isn't always kind." She nodded slowly. "I appreciate the honesty. Stay for lunch. Rex would be disappointed if you left." She looked at him for a long moment. Then she smiled. "Just lunch." He nodded, already knowing that lunch would change everything. The lunch stretched into 2 hours. Kyung-jae found himself talking, really talking. Celeste told him about her work, the accident that changed her life, her grandmother who'd raised her with stories of their family's journey from Georgia. "Nana used to say we come from a long line of survivors," she said, stroking Rex's head. "People who built something from nothing. She'd probably love knowing I ended up in a palace." "It's not a palace, just a building with a good view." "Kyung-jae, I can see all of Central Park." He liked how she said his name. He liked her laugh even more, genuine and rich. "Tell me about your family," she said. "My father built our organization from nothing. He came from Korea with $10. He died when I was 25. Heart attack." He paused. "Though in our world nothing is ever that simple." Her hand found his briefly. "I'm sorry. Your parents?" "Gone. Nana raised me. She passed 2 years ago. Cancer. You miss her. Every day." Her voice caught. "She would have told me I'm being reckless, sitting here with a man I don't know. Why doesn't scare you?" She considered the question. "Because Rex trusts you. Because you carried me inside when you could have just called 911. Because I've gotten pretty good at reading people. You're dangerous, Kyung-jae. But not to me." Her perception unsettled him. His phone buzzed. Territory dispute requiring attention. "I have to take care of something," he said reluctantly. She nodded. I should go anyway. Stay? The word came sharply. I mean, you're still recovering. Give yourself another hour. Rex will keep you company. Please. A word he rarely used. I'll be back in 2 hours. Just stay. Something in his voice convinced her. 2 hours. I need a graphic designer, he said suddenly. She blinked. What? Several of my legitimate businesses need rebranding. It's a 6-month project. 30,000 for the full contract, with flexibility for remote work. Her mouth opened. $30,000. You're a professional. That's the market rate. It was actually triple the market rate. Kyung-jae, you don't even know my work. I saw your portfolio website. You're talented. He had actually looked. Think about it while I'm gone. He left before she could argue, Rex staying behind. The business was a meeting with Min Seo Park, leader of a smaller Korean gang encroaching on Baek Pa territory. Min Seo was old school. 60, scarred face, traditional tattoos visible at his collar. He looked at Kyung-jae with contempt. What do you want, boy? Min Seo said in Korean. Kyung-jae smiled coldly. I want you to stop selling drugs in my territory. I want you to pull back to your original boundaries, and I want you to understand that my patience has limits. Your father would be ashamed. My father understood that power without action is meaningless. Kyung-jae leaned forward. Pull back, pay restitution, and we maintain peace, or what? In one smooth motion, Kyung-jae drew his gun and placed it on the table. Not aimed, just present. Your pride or your life, Min Seo. Choose wisely. Fear flickered in the older man's eyes. 1 week, Kyung-jae continued conversationally. Pull your people back or I'll make the choice for you. He stood, holstering his weapon. Enjoy the meal. When Kyung-jae returned, he found Celeste asleep on the sofa, Rex at her feet. She'd pulled a blanket over herself. His chef had fed her well. Empty dishes sat on the table and she'd written a note. Thank you for the amazing food. The kimchi jjigae was the best I've ever had. See. Kyung-jae smiled. She'd tried Korean food and appreciated it. He settled across from her, content to watch her sleep. Rex gave him an approving look. When she finally stirred, the sun was setting. Oh my God, she said, sitting up quickly, then wincing. I fell asleep. I'm so sorry. Don't be. You needed rest. How do you feel? Better. Much better. She looked surprised. Whatever your doctor gave me is working miracles. Good. About the job offer. Kyung-jae, I can't accept charity. It's not charity, it's business. He showed her 3 companies that genuinely needed rebranding. These are legitimate enterprises, all performing well, but with terrible visual identity. Why not you? She studied the information. He saw professionalism overtake pride. This is real work. You're talented. You need work. I need your skills. It's mutually beneficial. She bit her lip. 30,000 for 6 months? Plus a completion bonus. And you work from wherever you're comfortable. Where I'm comfortable might be a homeless shelter in 2 weeks. The words hit him hard. How much do you owe? Kyung-jae. How much? She sighed. 3,000 in back rent. Consider it an advance on the contract. I'll have my accountant wire you 5,000 tomorrow. 3 for rent, 2 for expenses. That's too much. That's business. I need you focused on work, not worried about eviction. Do we have a deal? She looked at him for a long moment. Why do I feel like I'm making a deal with the devil? Because you're smart. He smiled. But I promise, this particular devil keeps his contracts. Finally, she extended her hand. Deal. Their hands clasped, and the connection felt electric. Rex barked happily. I should really go now, Celeste said, but she didn't pull her hand away. Let me drive you home. I'm in a wheelchair, not helpless. I know. Let me do it anyway. Something in his voice convinced her. Okay, thank you. As they descended in the elevator, Kyung-jae felt something he hadn't experienced in years. Hope. Celeste Harper had rolled into his garden and changed everything. 3 weeks passed in a new rhythm. Every Thursday, Celeste came for project reviews. What started as 1-hour discussions stretched into 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours of conversation beyond logos and brand colors. She'd transformed the visual identity of his restaurant chain impressively. Her work was exceptional, but it was the woman herself who consumed his thoughts. Kyung-jae manufactured reasons to text her throughout the week, questions about designs he already understood, updates about Rex, links to articles. She responded with warmth, sending back her own links or funny observations that made him laugh. His team noticed the change. The Mincio situation had resolved after one ill-advised attempt to hit Kyung-jae's shipments. The retaliation had been swift, economically devastating, business as usual. But Kyung-jae thought less about such victories and more about how Celeste's eyes lit up when she explained a design concept. This Thursday, she arrived with news on her face. "You look happy," he observed as Rex greeted her enthusiastically. "I found a new apartment," she said, smiling brilliantly. "Thanks to the advance and my first payment, I could afford a place with real accessibility. It's in Brooklyn near Prospect Park, and it's perfect." Pride swelled in his chest. "When do you move?" "This weekend. I'm actually excited. First time in months. Show me the designs first, then tell me about this apartment." They settled into their usual positions. She presented her work, and he listened, genuinely impressed. "This is incredible," he said. "The rebrand for the real estate company especially. It changes the entire perception." "That's the goal." She closed the laptop. "Though, working for you is different than any other client." "Different how?" "Most clients know what they want and reject anything else. You ask questions, you listen, you're willing to be surprised. It's refreshing. In my regular business, being surprised usually means someone's about to die. I prefer it in this context." She laughed, then grew serious. "Can I ask you something?" "Ask." "Do you ever think about getting out of that life?" The question should have angered him. Instead, he considered it honestly. "Every day. And never. It's complicated." "How so?" "I inherited responsibility for hundreds of people, families who depend on our organization, territories where we maintain order. If I walked away, there would be chaos." He met her eyes. "But yes, sometimes I imagine a different life. What would it look like? Quieter, simpler. Maybe run the legitimate businesses without the shadow operations. Travel without looking over my shoulder." He paused. "What about you? I used to think I knew. Successful designer, nice apartment, someone to share it with." Her hand touched her legs. "Then the accident changed everything. Now I'm learning to want different things. There's nothing wrong with your dreams. Don't let circumstances make them smaller." She looked at him with intensity. "You're full of surprises, Kyung-jae-oh. Is that good or bad?" "I'm still deciding." The moment stretched, charged with something neither was ready to acknowledge. Rex broke the tension by demanding attention. "Jealous dog," Celeste laughed. Kyung-jae's phone buzzed. New problem. Client meeting in 30 minutes. He swore softly in Korean. "You have to go," Celeste said. "Unfortunately. But about this weekend, the move, let me help." "Kyung-jae, no. I have a truck, I have people. You hiring movers you can't afford when I have resources sitting idle is illogical. This is starting to feel like more than a business relationship." "Maybe it is." The words hung in the air. "Would that be so terrible?" She studied him. "I don't know yet. Your world is dangerous. I would never let that danger touch you. You can't promise that." She was right. But the protective instinct refused to acknowledge reality. "Saturday morning, let me help as a friend." "Is that what we are? Friends?" "I'd like to think so, wouldn't you?" Finally, she smiled. "Yeah, friends. Saturday works." As she left, Kyung-jae realized he'd just lied. They weren't friends. Friends didn't think about each other constantly. But acknowledging what he really felt would be admitting weakness. And in his world, weaknesses got people killed. Saturday arrived with warm weather. Kyung-jae showed up with 3 trusted men. What he didn't expect was the state of her apartment. The building was worse than imagined. Broken elevator, narrow hallways. Her unit was on the 3rd floor, accessible only by stairs. "How have you been managing this?" he asked, unable to keep anger from his voice. "Very carefully." She gestured to a pulley system she'd rigged. "I lower my chair down, then slide down the stairs. Takes about 20 minutes each way." The image of her struggling daily made his blood boil. "How long have you lived here?" 4 months. Since I got out of rehab. It was all I could afford." He wanted to hit something. Instead, he channeled anger into efficiency. "We're getting everything out today." The moving took 3 hours. Her possessions were modest. Furniture that had seen better days, boxes of design materials and books. No family photos except one with an elderly woman, her grandmother. Kyung-jae memorized details, the way she organized her space, art prints on her walls, the fact that her refrigerator held more condiments than actual food. "You don't eat enough," he observed. "Says the man with a personal chef. Says the man who knows what malnutrition looks like. When did you last have a real meal?" She looked away. "I eat fine." Celeste. "Food is expensive. Rent is expensive. Medical bills are expensive. I prioritize." He wanted to tell her she'd never have to prioritize again, but that would cross a line they hadn't acknowledged. "The new apartment has a better kitchen. You should use it." "I will. Promise." The new place was perfect. Accessible, bright, better neighborhood. Ground floor with wide doorways. A bathroom designed for wheelchair users. Ramps instead of stairs. Watching her genuine excitement about simple features, something cracked in Kyung-jae's chest. They worked together to unpack, his men dismissed. Rex helped by demanding pets from Celeste. "I think your dog has adopted me," she laughed. "He has good taste." Kyung-jae hung the last art print. "Where do you want the bookshelf?" "By the window, so I can read in natural light." As they positioned furniture, their hands brushed. Then again, the third time, neither pulled away. "Kyung-jae," she said softly. "Yes? Why are you really doing all this?" He could have lied. But standing in her new apartment, with sunlight streaming through windows and Rex sleeping contentedly, truth felt easier. "Because from the moment I saw you in my garden, something changed. Because you make me laugh. Because you're brilliant and strong and you make me want to be better." He paused. "Because I can't stop thinking about you, and I'm tired of pretending otherwise." Her breath caught. "Kyung-jae, you don't have to say anything. I know the impossibility, our different worlds, the danger." She kissed him, tentative at first, a question more than a statement. But when he responded, cradling her face with gentleness, the kiss deepened into something inevitable. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, she rested her forehead against his. "This is crazy," she whispered. "Completely. You're a criminal. I'm a graphic designer. This is a terrible idea. The worst. So why does it feel so right?" He had no answer except truth. "I don't know, but it does." They stayed like that for a long moment. Then Rex barked, and the spell broke. Celeste laughed, wiping her eyes. "We should probably talk about this." "We should. But maybe not today." "Agreed." He stood, offering his hand. "Let me take you to dinner. A thank you for putting up with my help. Kyung-jae, you helped me move. I should be thanking you. Then thank me by letting me feed you. There's a Korean restaurant that makes incredible bibimbap. Rex can even come." She smiled, taking his hand. "How can I say no when you're bribing me with the dog?" As they left together, Rex trotting happily between them, Kyung-jae felt something he'd thought lost. Contentment. Genuine, uncomplicated happiness. It wouldn't last. His world didn't allow for uncomplicated anything. But for now, he let himself believe in possibilities. He just didn't see the car following them, or notice the camera capturing their every move. The photograph landed on Kyung-jae's desk Monday morning with the weight of a bomb. Him and Celeste at the restaurant, his hand covering hers. Another of them walking, her laughing. A third at her apartment, closer than business associates should be. Ji-hoon stood across the desk, expression grim. "These were delivered an hour ago. No note, no demands, just photos." Kyung-jae's blood ran cold. "Who?" "We're working on it. Could be Minseo's people, could be another organization. It doesn't matter who. What matters is they know about her." His hands clenched. "Increase security on her building, someone watching 24 hours. Boss, she'll notice." "I don't care. Her safety is non-negotiable." Ji-hoon hesitated. "There's another option. End whatever this is. Publicly distance yourself. If she's not important to you, she stops being a target." The suggestion made logical sense. Eliminate the vulnerability. But the thought of walking away felt impossible. "No." Kyung-jae, "I said no. Find out who sent these. Protection stays on her." After Ji-hoon left, Kyung-jae stared at the photographs. They told a story he hadn't been ready to admit. Two people falling for each other. His phone rang. Celeste. "Hey." she said brightly. I finished the mock-ups. Want to review them over lunch? The normalcy, her complete unawareness of danger circling her, made his chest ache. Celeste, something's come up. Can we reschedule? Oh, sure. Is everything okay? Yes, just business complications. The lie tasted bitter. Okay. Text me when you're free. And Kyungjae, thank you again for Saturday. It was my pleasure. After hanging up, he made a decision. She needed to know about the photos, the potential danger. She deserved truth, even if it meant she'd walk away. That evening, he went to her apartment. Rex accompanied him. Celeste opened the door with a smile that faded when she saw his expression. What's wrong? He entered, waiting until the door closed before showing her the photographs, her face drained of color. Someone's been following us, she said quietly. Yes, because of your business. Yes. She set the photos down with trembling hands. So this is real, the danger. And I'm sorry. I should have been more careful. This isn't your fault. But her voice lacked conviction. It absolutely is. I brought this into your life. I knew the risks and pursued this anyway because I was selfish. He forced the words out, which is why I think we should stop. The business arrangement can continue, but nothing personal. I'll make sure you're protected until whoever sent these realizes you don't matter to me. She looked up sharply. Don't matter? That's what we'll project, that you were a brief interest, nothing serious. Once they believe that, they'll lose interest. And if I don't want to do that? Celeste, you have to. I can't. His voice broke. I can't risk you, not for this, not for me. She stood from her wheelchair, the effort painful, but determination overriding discomfort. She took 2 careful steps toward him. What if I'm willing to take that risk? Then I'm not. Your safety is more important than what I want. What you want? What about what I want? Don't I get a say? Her anger was magnificent. You don't get to decide what risks I can handle. I'm not fragile, I'm not helpless, and I'm certainly not going to let threatening photographs make my choices for me. You don't understand what these people are capable of, then explain it. Tell me exactly what we're facing so I can make an informed decision. Her words struck home. He was afraid, terrified in a way he'd never been facing down enemies, because those threats were to him. This threat was to her. They'll use you against me, he said quietly. They'll threaten you to control me, or worse, they'll hurt you to send a message. I've seen it happen, Celeste. I've been the one sending those messages. I know exactly how ruthless this world is. And you think walking away will protect me? What if they don't believe it? What if they hurt me anyway? She moved closer. At least if we're together, you can actually protect me. If we pretend this meant nothing, I'm vulnerable with no one watching my back. She had a point. I can't lose you, he said, the confession raw. Then don't push me away. Her hand found his face. We'll be careful, we'll be smart, but we don't let fear win. Okay? He wanted to argue, but looking into her eyes, seeing her strength and determination, he realized she understood perfectly. She was choosing him anyway. Okay, he whispered, then pulled her close, kissing her with desperation. When they broke apart, Rex was wagging his tail enthusiastically. Even the dog agrees, Celeste said, laughing through tears. The dog is clearly smarter than both of us. They settled on the couch, Rex jumping between them. So what now? She asked. Now we're careful. You get security. We vary your routines. You let me know immediately if anything seems off. He pulled out his phone. And I find out who sent these photos and make sure they understand you're off limits. How will you do that? Better you don't know the details. She frowned. Kyungjae, I need to know what I'm part of. No more protecting me from the truth. He considered, then nodded. Fair. I'll have my people investigate who's been following us. Once we identify them, I'll make contact. There will be a conversation about boundaries and consequences. If they're smart, they'll back off. If they're not, he trailed off. If they're not, then I'll do what's necessary to keep you safe. And Celeste, in my world, necessary can mean things you might not be comfortable with. Will you kill them? The direct question surprised him. If I have to, yes. If there's another way to neutralize the threat, I'll take it. But I won't let someone hurt you because I was squeamish about protecting what's mine. What's yours? She repeated softly. Is that what I am? He met her eyes. If you want to be. I know it's fast. I know it's complicated, but yes. You're mine, if you'll have me. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, I'm yours. God help me, but I'm yours. The kiss that followed was different. Not tentative or questioning, but claiming and certain. Stay tonight, she said. I don't want to be alone. I'll stay as long as you want. They didn't make love that night, both sensing it was too soon, but they fell asleep together on her couch, Rex at their feet, and for Kyung-jae it was the best rest he'd had in years. When he woke to find her still in his arms, safe and peaceful, he made a silent vow. Whatever it took, whoever he had to fight, he would keep her safe. She was his now. And Oh Kyung-jae protected what was his with everything he had. The answer came 3 days later. Not Min Seo's people or a rival organization, but a federal investigation. The FBI had been building a case against Kyung-jae for months, and they'd seen his relationship with Celeste as potential leverage. Ji-hoon delivered the news with frustration. They want you to know they're watching, that they can get to people you care about. Then we make sure they can't. Kyung-jae's mind was already working through scenarios. Increase security, but make it invisible. Too late, the photos prove she matters. Then we control the narrative. She's a contractor, nothing more. But even his strategic brilliance couldn't predict what happened next. Celeste's ex-fiancé, the man who'd left her after the accident, reappeared, wanting her back, claiming he'd made a mistake, and carrying information about Kyung-jae that could destroy everything. Marcus Washington showed up at Celeste's apartment Thursday evening, his timing perfectly calculated. Celeste called within minutes, voice shaking. He's here. Marcus is here. I'm on my way. Kyung-jae was already moving. Don't let him in. Too late. I already did. I thought... Her voice broke. I thought he just wanted to talk. 15 minutes later, Kyung-jae arrived to find Marcus sitting in Celeste's living room like he belonged there. Handsome in a conventional way, tall, athletic, expensive suit, the kind of man who looked good on paper, and he was looking at Celeste like she was property he'd temporarily misplaced. You must be the new boyfriend, Marcus said, tone dripping condescension. Celeste told me about her generous employer. Kyung-jae's expression remained neutral despite building rage. And you are. Marcus Washington, Celeste's fiancé. Ex-fiancé, Celeste corrected sharply, who left me in the hospital and hasn't spoken to me in 6 months. A mistake I'm here to correct. Marcus stood, moving toward her. Baby, I was wrong. I was scared and stupid, and I've regretted it every day. But I'm here now, and I want to make it right. Make it right, Celeste's voice rose. You think you can just show up and erase 6 months? People make mistakes. I'm asking for forgiveness, and I'm asking you to leave. Marcus's expression hardened. Not until we talk. Privately. He glanced at Kyung-jae. Without your employer present. Anything you have to say, you can say in front of Kyung-jae. Fine. Marcus pulled out his phone, showing them documents. Then let's talk about who your boyfriend really is. The criminal empire he runs. The illegal activities. The federal investigation about to bring him down. Celeste paled. How do you... Because the FBI came to me. Told me everything. Showed me evidence. Marcus's voice turned pleading. Baby, this man is dangerous. He's using you, and when everything falls apart, you'll be caught in the crossfire. Come back to me, let me protect you the right way. Kyung-jae had been preparing for this moment, but hearing it laid out so baldly still stung. She's not going anywhere with you, Kyung-jae said quietly. That's not your decision. Marcus turned to Celeste. Think about it. You were building a good life before the accident. I can help you get that back. Physical therapy, the best doctors, a real future. What can he offer except danger and lies? For a moment, uncertainty flickered across Celeste's face, and Kyung-jae felt his world tilt. Then she spoke, voice clear and strong. He can offer honesty. He can offer presence. He's been here, Marcus. When I was struggling, when I was scared, when I needed help, where were you? I was wrong. You were gone, and now you show up with FBI files and accusations expecting what? That I'll forget everything and come running back? She shook her head. I'm not that woman anymore. The accident changed me, but so did learning to survive without you. I don't need you to rescue me. You need someone without a target on his back. I need someone who sees me. Not the woman I was before, not someone to fix or save, but me as I am now. She reached for Kyung-jae's hand, and I found him. Pride and love surged through Kyung-jae with intensity. Marcus's expression twisted ugly. You're making a mistake. When the FBI moves in, when his empire crumbles, you'll wish you'd chosen differently. Then that's my mistake to make. Celeste's voice held steel. Now get out of my apartment. Celeste, get out. Marcus looked between them, seeing a battle he'd already lost. When this goes bad, and it will, don't come crying to me. I won't need to. I have someone who will actually be there. She squeezed Kyung-jae's hand. Goodbye, Marcus. After he left, silence stretched taut. Kyung-jae waited, giving Celeste space. Is it true? She finally asked. The federal investigation? Yes, and they want to use me against you. They want to use everyone I care about. Standard procedure. Will they succeed? Not if I can help it, but Celeste. He turned to face her. Marcus wasn't entirely wrong. Being with me is dangerous. The FBI is the least of it. There are rivals, people who would hurt you to hurt me. I can protect you, but I can't guarantee your safety completely. I know. And you're still choosing this. Choosing me. She pulled him down, kissing him with fierce determination. When they broke apart, her eyes were blazing. I'm choosing us. Whatever that means, whatever comes, I'm choosing us. You're either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. Probably both. She smiled through tears. But I meant what I said. You see me. Not the disability, not the struggling designer, not someone to be pitied. You see me, and that's worth fighting for. Kyung-jae pulled her close. You're the bravest person I've ever met. Says the man who faces down criminals for a living. That's not courage. That's necessity. He pulled back to meet her eyes. You? You're choosing danger when you could choose safety. That's real courage. They stayed like that. Rex, sensing the emotion, pushed between them, making them both laugh. What happens now? Celeste asked. Now I deal with the FBI situation. And with Marcus, he won't stop trying to save you. Let him try. I made my choice. Celeste, you should know if this goes bad, if the investigation leads to charges, I might not be able to protect you from the fallout. You could be called as a witness, questioned, possibly charged. I understand. Do you? Really? He needed her to grasp the implications. Your life could be turned upside down. Everything you've built could be destroyed. Kyung-jae. She cupped his face. I'm already in too deep. I fell for you the moment you carried me into your penthouse, with such gentle care while trying to look tough and untouchable. I'm not walking away because things got complicated. I'm staying because you're worth it. Something inside him broke and reformed, the last of his walls crumbling. I love you, he said, the words escaping before he could stop them. I know it's fast. I know it's insane, but I love you, and I will do everything in my power to keep you safe and happy. I love you too. She kissed him again. Now what's our move? The fact that she said our instead of your settled something deep. We build a case against the case. We find leverage. His mind was already working. And we make sure everyone knows you're off limits. Over the next weeks, they executed their plan. To the outside world, Celeste had backed away. The FBI lost interest. Marcus crowed about winning her back, though Celeste never actually agreed. Meanwhile, Kyung-jae spent every night at her apartment, entering through carefully monitored routes. They cooked together, watched movies, made love with intensity, born of secrecy and danger. Rex became a permanent fixture. I like this, she said one evening, nestled against him. I know we can't do it forever, but there's something nice about having you all to myself. Just us, he echoed. But they both knew it couldn't last. When Celeste's design work attracted major attention, a tech company offered her a high-profile rebrand. The exposure would be incredible for her career. The problem? It would put her back in the public eye. You have to take it, Kyung-jae insisted, and risk everything. Your career is more important than hiding. We'll figure it out. Together? Together. She took the job. Within a week, a columnist noticed she was still doing work for Kyung-jae's companies. Questions arose. Rumors started. The FBI renewed interest. Everything began crumbling. The confrontation came at an art gallery opening, a public event Celeste attended for her client. Kyung-jae had stayed away, but when he got word that Marcus was there, cornering her with federal agents watching. He couldn't stay away. He entered through the back. The gallery was packed. Celeste stood near the center, Marcus's hand on her shoulder possessively. Their eyes met across the room, and the connection was electric. Marcus followed her gaze, expression darkening. He said something that made her flinch. Kyung-jae was moving, crossing the gallery. The crowd parted instinctively. "Take your hand off her," he said quietly when he reached them. "Excuse me?" Marcus's smile was ugly. "I'm having a conversation with my girlfriend." "I'm not your girlfriend," Celeste interrupted. "We've been together for 3 weeks. We've had coffee 3 times, and I've made it clear we're not getting back together." Her voice carried, drawing attention. "You've been telling people we're dating, but that's not true. Celeste, don't make a scene. Then stop lying about our relationship." She looked at Kyung-jae, decision clear. "I tried to do this quietly, tried to protect everyone, but I'm done pretending." "Celeste, think," Kyung-jae started, even as his heart soared. I'm thinking that hiding is making everyone think they can control my choices. I'm thinking that being public about who I love is less dangerous than letting people believe I'm available to manipulate." She reached for his hand. "I choose you. Publicly, obviously, and permanently. If that makes me a target, then we deal with it together." The gallery had gone silent. Marcus's face contorted. "You're choosing a criminal over someone who could give you a real life. I'm choosing someone who treats me like an equal over someone who treats me like a problem to solve." She looked at Kyung-jae. "I'm choosing the man I love." "You're making a mistake," Marcus hissed. "Maybe, but it's my mistake to make." She turned her back on him. To Kyung-jae she said, "Can we get out of here?" "Absolutely." As they left, together publicly, undeniably a couple, Kyung-jae felt something shift. This was it, the point of no return. But looking at Celeste's determined expression, he couldn't bring himself to regret it. "You know what you just did?" he asked as his car pulled up. "I know exactly what I did. I claimed you the way you claimed me." She smiled. "Now the whole world knows I'm yours and you're mine." "You're mine," he said, fierce and possessive, "and anyone who tries to change that will regret it." "Such a romantic," she teased, but her eyes were serious. "What happens now?" "Now we stop hiding. We hire the best lawyers. We build legal protections." He pulled her close. "And we live our lives the way we want to, not the way fear dictates. Together. Together." The kiss they shared felt like sealing a vow. When they arrived at her apartment, Rex greeted them with enthusiasm. Tonight felt different. Tonight felt like the beginning of their real life together. "I have something to tell you," Kyung-jae said as they settled on the couch. "That sounds ominous." "Not ominous, just true." He took her hands. "I've been working on extricating myself from the criminal side of the business. It's complicated and will take time, but I'm doing it. For you, but also for me. I want the life we talked about. Quieter, simpler, legitimate." Her eyes widened. "Kyung-jae, you can't do that just because of me." "I'm not. I'm doing it because you made me remember who I wanted to be." He kissed her palms. "You didn't save me, but you reminded me I could save myself. How long will it take? A year? Maybe 2. I have to transfer leadership carefully, ensure no one gets hurt. But it's happening." He met her eyes. "I want a future with you, a real one. I want that too." They made love that night with new understanding, not just of each other, but of what they were building together. Later, as Celeste slept in his arms and Rex snored, Kyung-jae made plans. The FBI investigation would be dealt with. He had leverage to make charges inadvisable. Marcus would be handled legally, and the organization, Ji-hoon, would take over. The transition would be smooth. For the first time in years, Oh Kyung-jae could see a future that didn't involve looking over his shoulder. A future with the woman who'd rolled into his garden and changed everything. The next months were a carefully orchestrated dance. Kyung-jae's lawyers proved worth every dollar, constructing a legal fortress that made prosecuting him more trouble than it was worth. The FBI's case crumbled when faced with meticulous documentation of his transition from criminal enterprises. Marcus made one final attempt, threatening to go public. That threat ended when Kyung-jae's legal team presented him with evidence of his own financial improprieties. Marcus retreated, bitter but silent. The transition of power within Baek Pa was delicate. Ji-hoon proved capable, earning respect through strategic thinking and unwavering loyalty. Criminal activities were gradually phased out, replaced by legitimate ventures. It wasn't perfect. There were setbacks, conflicts, moments when Kyung-jae questioned whether he could truly leave that world. But every time doubt crept in, Celeste was there, not pushing, just present, believing in him. Her design business flourished. The tech company rebrand led to more opportunities, more recognition. She hired assistants, expanded services, built something substantial. She still used her cane on difficult days, but she'd reclaimed her mobility, her independence, her sense of self. On a spring evening, exactly 1 year after Rex had first barked his warning, Kyung-jae took Celeste to the garden where they'd first met. "Why are we here?" she asked. "Because this is where everything started," he said simply. "Where Rex found you. Where I found you." They walked to the fountain, Rex trotting beside them. The evening sun painted everything golden. "Celeste," he said, turning to face her, "that day when I carried you into my penthouse, I thought I was just helping someone in need. I had no idea I was carrying my entire future in my arms." Her eyes widened as he knelt, pulling out a small velvet box. "You changed everything. You made me want to be better. You showed me that strength isn't about power, it's about choosing love even when it's difficult." He opened the box, revealing a ring that caught sunlight. "Celeste Harper, you are the bravest, strongest, most beautiful person I've ever known. Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down her face as she nodded. "Yes, 1,000 times yes." The ring slipped onto her finger perfectly. They kissed while Rex barked excitedly. "When?" she asked when they broke apart. "Whenever you want. I just need to know you're mine forever. I've been yours since the beginning. This just makes it official." They stayed in the garden as twilight fell, making plans. Not just the wedding, but the life beyond it. Children maybe, travel definitely, growing old together absolutely. The transition from crime boss to legitimate businessman was nearly complete. The organization that had once trafficked in violence now operated restaurants, real estate, tech startups. Ji-hoon ran operations while Kyung-jae focused on strategy and growth. "I have something to tell you," Celeste said as they walked back. "I've been waiting for the right moment. Tell me now." She smiled, nervous and excited. "I'm pregnant." Kyung-jae stopped, the words taking a moment to register. "You're pregnant. I found out last week. I wanted to be sure before I told you." She searched his face anxiously. "We never really talked about children. If you're not ready..." He pulled her close, kissing her with joy and awe. "I'm ready. God, Celeste, I'm so ready. A family with you, that's everything." Rex seemed to sense the significance, pressing against both of them. That night, as they lay in bed, Kyung-jae placed his hand on Celeste's still flat stomach and marveled. A year ago, he'd been a feared criminal with no future beyond violence. Now he was engaged to the woman he loved, expecting a child, building a legitimate legacy, all because a dog had barked. "What are you thinking?" Celeste asked. "That Rex deserves a steak. A really good steak," she laughed. "Because he found me. Because he's smarter than both of us combined." He pulled her closer. "He knew from the beginning what took me weeks to admit, that you were exactly what I needed. What we both needed," she corrected. "You gave me back my life, Kyung-jae. Not by rescuing me. I never needed rescuing. But by seeing me, believing in me, loving me exactly as I am. You were always more. I just had the privilege of witnessing it." They fell asleep, wrapped in each other, Rex at the foot of the bed. Years passed, transforming everything, while keeping what mattered unchanged. Celeste stood at the window of their Westchester home, watching their daughter play in the garden with Rex, older now, grayer, but still devoted. At 5, Maya had her mother's warm brown skin and bright eyes, her father's determination. She was currently teaching the patient dog a new trick, her Korean and English flowing seamlessly. The therapy and surgery had given Celeste back most of her mobility. She still had difficult days, still used her cane occasionally. But she walked, she ran. She chased after their energetic daughter. The accident would always be part of her story, but it no longer defined her. Her design firm employed 20 people with offices in Manhattan and LA. She'd won awards, built something she was incredibly proud of. But the work that mattered most was teaching Maya about her dual heritage, about strength and resilience, about choosing love. Kyung-jae came up behind her, wrapping arms around her waist. Deep thoughts. She leaned into his embrace. Just remembering. Remembering what? The day Rex found me. How impossible this all seemed. And now it feels like it was always meant to be. She turned in his arms. How was the board meeting? Productive. The tech startup is expanding internationally. The restaurant chain is opening locations in Seoul, bringing things full circle. He smiled. All legitimate, all successful. Your father would understand. He would. He built an empire to provide for his family. I'm doing the same, just differently. He kissed her forehead. Speaking of family, I have news. Ji-hoon is stepping down. He's recommending we transition to a fully corporate structure. The end of an era. The beginning of a new one. He pulled her closer. No more shadows. No more looking over our shoulders. Just business. Family. Life. Through the window, they watched Maya succeed in her training, Rex performing perfectly. Her delighted laughter rang out. She has your determination, Celeste said, and your kindness. The perfect combination. That evening, they had dinner as a family. Korean dishes alongside Southern comfort food, a blend that felt natural. Maya chatted about her day, switching between languages with ease, telling Rex about her adventures. After Maya was asleep, Kyung-jae and Celeste sat on their porch, watching stars emerge. Do you ever regret it? Celeste asked. Giving up all that power? Not once. He took her hand, thumb tracing her wedding ring. Power is hollow. This, you, Maya, the life we've built. This is real. This matters. We've come a long way from that garden. The best journey of my life. He pulled her close. You know what I realized? That day when I carried you inside, I thought I was saving you. But you were saving me. From a life without love, without purpose, without the possibility of being better. We saved each other, she corrected. That's what love does. It doesn't rescue or fix, it reveals. You showed me I was stronger than I thought. I showed you that you were more than your past. They sat in comfortable silence. Two people who'd found each other against all odds, who'd chosen each other despite every obstacle, who'd built something beautiful from the most unlikely beginning. Inside, Rex settled at the foot of Maya's bed, assuming his guardian role. The dog who'd brought them together now watched over their daughter, Celeste Harper. Bo looked at her husband, the former crime boss turned devoted father and successful businessman, and felt overwhelming gratitude. She'd lost so much in that accident, but she'd gained something infinitely more valuable. A love that saw her completely, accepted her entirely, and chose her consistently. Kyung-jae had found his salvation in the most unexpected place, in the woman his dog had discovered in his garden. Not because he'd rescued her, she'd never needed rescuing, but because she'd loved him exactly as he was while believing in who he could become. I love you, she whispered. I love you more, he whispered back. And somewhere in the city they'd left behind, life continued its chaotic dance. But here, in their sanctuary, there was only peace, only love, only the promise of tomorrow. The wheelchair-bound designer had found her unexpected champion. The mafia boss had found his redemption. The dog who'd brought them together had lived to see his humans create the family he'd known they could be. It wasn't the life either had planned, but it was perfect.